Hey guys, and welcome to episode 3 of DS Comics with Dave and the lovely Sonia. Today we are going to be tackling the very thorny issue of writer's block, what we suffer through and the easiest ways to get around it. So I would like to start off with a quick thought on the topic by the almost award-winning author, Sonia Killik. Sonia, what do you think about writer's block? Writer's block
sucks. It's so hard. And it's not, for me, it has so many bigger repercussions. You know, it affects your deadlines, it affects your confidence, it affects your passion and your, even on a practical level, you've set aside X many hours to write in your day or in your week, and you sit down and you finally have the time to write, and then boom, you've hit an absolute brick wall and just nothing is coming out. So it has a big impact. And I think there's many different facets to what writer's block actually is.
Do you think writer's block, do you think it's unique to writers, or do you think it's something inherent in all of us, and writing just happens to be one of the ways that it comes out?
I would say I wouldn't say it happens in every area of our lives, but I think in any creative endeavor, it certainly rears its very ugly head.
Actually, it brings a book to mind. So for those of you watching, I want to take a fourth wall break from the Deadpool movies and basically address you guys directly and say a book I want to recommend is The Art of War. No, The War of Art. The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And The War of Art by Steven Pressfield actually talks to exactly what we've just mentioned. Basically, writer's block, suffering through it, why we suffer through it, and basically just to simplify what Steven said in some of his chapters was, a lot of us treat our creative habits, in this case writing, as amateurs. Amateurs, we do it for fun. When it's not fun, maybe we don't do it or we don't try as hard. When the going gets tough, we tend to go, well, this is just a hobby. It's okay. I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to tackle it today. And in the book, Steven refers to the enemy being this inner resistance to creativity. And something beautiful Steven says is, treat this inner resistance you have to creative tasks as a compass. And the more resistance you feel to something creative, the more you should be doing it. And if you navigate your life, your creative life, using this compass of where you're feeling great resistance, it's actually a good opportunity to see where you should be spending time. So the book is called The War of Art. The author is Steven Pressfield, and we will put links right on to this in the show notes. And basically, it covers turning pro. The one part of the book is essentially, I think the last part is called Turning Pro, where Steven gives tips for amateurs who maybe have had enough of inner resistance and things they can do to what he calls turn pro. And by turn pro, it means you don't necessarily, beat inner resistance, but it's something that you learn to live with. And it's a book that I really would recommend every one of you watching this reads. Any books you can think of, some that have helped you?
There is, and I'll come back to it. But what has just come to mind now, listening to you, is society doesn't really support creativity anymore, does it? There's, unless you are specifically an artist, and a professional artist getting paid and making a living for it, and which very few of us are. So unless you're a professional ballet dancer on the stage or a very high-paid artist of some kind, creativity is not really part of our everyday life.
People, friends and family might not take you seriously. So,
well, it's more than that. You were saying about the hobby. So let's say, as a writer, most writers write part-time. So you've finished your 9-to-5 job during the day. You're tired. You've earned your salary. You come home, and now you have to dig deep and find that energy and that passion and exactly like you were saying, that resistance that you're going to come up against, to find the time for your creativity, in this case, writing a book. And there's a lot less pressure for you to push through that resistance because it's your salary and your livelihood is not dependent on it. And it's so easy to push it. Okay, I'll write tomorrow. I'll write next week because, it's Thursday afternoon and you've worked the whole week and you're tired, and whatever the case is. So I think that's probably one of the factors towards writing writer's block, and something that we need to be aware of.
That's true.
And some of the advice I give to authors is you need to be very, very self-aware, and you need to understand how you as an individual operate your life and how your energy fluctuates throughout the day. So for me, I actually, weirdly enough, have more energy at night. So I love to write at night. I'm not getting interrupted. My phone's off, etc. Whereas some people are just like hit an absolute slump at the end of the day, but they don't mind waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, if that's how you operate, get your writing over with early in the day. And then that pressure at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's a lot easier. Yeah.
I think to sum up what you're saying there is basically find the time of day that works best for you. And I think you're spot on. It tends to either be early morning or after work at night.
So I used to, when I'm writing, I'm at different stages of the book. In the beginning stages of the book, when I'm still plotting and kind of plodding my way through the various chapters and the outlines and whatnot, I can easily do an hour a day and then I'll make progress. But when I'm towards the end of the book and I'm polishing, I need lots of hours because I get into it and I need the flow and I don't want to interrupt that. So what I do is I block off Fridays. So my work week shortens to 4 days a week, and come Friday, and then I've got an entire day that is uninterrupted. So that's the other problem with creativity and writer's block, is that sometimes it takes you an hour just to get into it, just to get past that resistance that you were saying. And then by that stage, it's, you know, time to go to work or time to go to sleep, and you cut it short, you know. So just as you're getting to the good stuff, you know, you kind of run out of time. So again, it's about managing your day, your week, and your energy.
Actually, it's a great point. So to take on what you've said, you mentioned you block off time. So are there any tips you have in terms of blocking off time? I mean, is it as simple as you write down on your diary, Friday, I'm going to work on my book? Or are there fancier ways, maybe leveraging technology, that you can, you know, set an alarm or an app reminder, or turn your phone off automatically using an app? Are there cool things like that that you do as well?
Well, absolutely. You know, and obviously if you're in a paid employee, you can't take Friday off like I can. Thanks, Dave. So obviously you have to, as what I said, you have to work within the framework of how your life runs. But absolutely. So I have, I'm obviously Apple crazy. So I have every single device all synced to each other. So my Mac is synced to my iPad, is synced to my iPhone. And then I've got apps on all of them that all sync to each other. And I use something called Simple Note. It's an app. I write on Scrivener. And Simple Note kind of syncs with Scrivener. So if I'm driving or I'm in the middle of a conversation with someone, which happens really often, and I get the spark of creativity, I don't want to lose that. So I'll either do a voice memo or quickly jot it down on Simple Note on my phone. And when I get back to my computer, it's all synced in and it's there. And that certainly works for me. And in terms of your diary, it's about discipline. It's about discipline. And it's such a paradox because creativity is the absolute opposite, if you think about it, of discipline. You know, creativity is about, you know, freedom and expression and whatever comes to you, but you have to, because of our time constraints and modern day living, you have to have that within the parameters of discipline.
Absolutely agree. I think that's one of the common threads with the people I chat with and the authors that I see day in and day out, is that while you're writing, however you might choose to write, you're wearing this creative cap and you're knocking out the words. And the problem is if you rely purely on the ebb and flow of what feels good and you know, when I have energy, then you're subject to the whims of you know, everyday life. You know, I'm too busy today, maybe tomorrow, and the book, you know, can take months, you know, beyond what it should. And if you look at the habits of people who write, you know, 7-8 books a year, touching on what you said there is that they schedule the time knowing that, okay, so it's Monday morning, 6 o'clock. I know I'm going to start writing and not feel like it, but after the 20 minutes of writing, I'm probably going to get into it. That's how it works. And it's the mindset changes from only writing when I have motivation to, I know if I start writing, the motivation will follow. Do you agree? Absolutely.
And it's also about habit forming, habit building. So it's just like going to gym or eating a good diet. Yes, in the beginning it's hard and it sucks, and that resistance level is high. But as we incorporate that into our daily routine and as we push through that resistance period, it does become easier. Not to say you're not going to have bad days, and those days are the days you have to dig deep. buck up, get your shit together and keep going, you know. But the more habitual your writing patterns are, the easier it is. So I'm just looking down because I wanted to quickly, Julia Cameron. So she wrote a beautiful book. It was one of the first books I read on writing. It's called The Artist's Way. It's not only for writers, but it predominantly focuses on writers. Julia Cameron, I'll put the link up. And she says, and that was one of, probably out of the entire book, one of the key pieces of advice that really stuck to me was just write. So when you're having those complete writer's block and you're not even managing to write, you know, on the topic of what your book is, just write anyway. You can write, oh my God, I hate today. Shit, doesn't matter. Write. Just don't break the habit of writing.
Absolutely agree. I found a little thing that works for me is each night before I want to tackle, for example, writing, although it actually works with almost any sort of habit, whether it's exercise or writing or meditating, is I write the night before. I commit the night before in writing to the time and what I'm going to do. So meditate 6 o'clock in the morning, writing 7:30 in the morning. And the time's not too important. What I found though is if I, in writing, commit to something for the next day, it works. I don't think I've ever missed an activity. I've been late, you know, to the activity, but that day it's always got done. And
well, it's about accountability. It's about creating personal accountability. So for you, making that written commitment really works. Some people might need the help from a friend. So perhaps you can recruit a really disciplined friend and say, right, these are my intentions. By the end of every week, I would have written 100,000 words, whatever your goal is. And then you be accountable to that friend. So I think accountability is really important.
Just to hop in there, for those of you watching who might be similar to me, Sonia, where do we find these things?
What, friends? Friends. I knew you were going to say friends. Tinder.
Will you be my writing buddy, please?
I will be your writing buddy.
I need to update my profile, actually.
Shake on it.
What are you doing?
Shake my hand. We're going to agree.
Which
there, keep going. Yes, there we go. Right. Should we do it? We also need a new Tinder profile.
It looks like I'm giving a stranger a hand job in the background. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I just almost done.
Yeah, I got to pay the bill somehow. It's up all
yeah, that was good. Wow.
Has it been that long that you got arm cramp and a wrist cramp?
I was not cut out for this. So I like the accountability thing and following accountability for writers. What do you think about finding a writers group? What do you think about finding a writers circle near where you live as well?
So again, it's what works for you. I would personally hate it because, as you know, I have no friends. I'm antisocial. But
I mean, this is our social activity for the week, right?
Yay! I get to see another human being. I have friends. Look, I want to show you all my friends on my desk. I have Ellie, number one. I have my money frog, number two.
You've got a money frog. I feel jealous.
Money frog, yeah. A big one too. I have my little reindeer all the way from Norway for my friend Richard. Oh, shit, I have a friend. I'm so sorry. I have one friend. Bastard! Actually, this is from another friend of mine. It's my absolute favorite. Isn't that beautiful? This is from Melinda. Look at that. Oh, I love it.
What is it?
It's a skull. I suppose you could put pens in it or something. But she is a brilliant anthropologist because she's studying her doctorate. So I have a collection of...
Showing off.
Well, you know, I had my stint on Tinder. I did, yeah.
Wow. I like how you had your stint on Tinder and you came back with guys and girls. That's interesting, son.
Well, my profile was like, just anyone. I don't care what. Just please, someone talk to me.
Everyone.
Human touch. No, I didn't do that.
Human or several cats, right?
Yeah. But no, to answer your question, I think a writers group would, again, it's about the individual. So a writers group would certainly help. In fact, we've got a fantastic company in Johannesburg. I think they do things all over the country, actually. Writers Write. And they do nice courses and groups and everything else, and absolutely connecting with other writers. But absolutely. I think they would only probably meet once a week. Although, if you've committed within a group to getting out a certain amount of words by the end of the week, you know, when you arrive to meet your your author friends, you know, you don't want to have mud on your face. So yes, I would definitely say that would help.
Another great idea actually to gather excitement, because I think one of the reasons writer's block is easier to kick in is because if you're writing quite a big project, it can take you months and months and longer even to finish what you got. Now, your feedback cycle, people aren't telling you, wow, this is a good book, up until you finish, you know, a year or two down the line. Now, if you utilize something like the platform Wattpad, where you're going to be releasing chapter by chapter, and people are getting excited for the first chapter and the second chapter, as a writer, wouldn't that you know, get you excited about releasing the next chapter?
So yes and no. Personally, I'm very paranoid, and I'd worry about plagiarism. But then,
I love how you do the crazy laugh in the middle of that. That is such a crazy old lady laugh.
Stop with the old. We've discussed this, Dave. Not in public, okay?
As you were.
Okay. So I obviously everyone's different, but I think every artist deep down, there's that awesome meme. You must have seen it. It's like the cycle of a writer. Well, the cycle of creativity. Like, this is amazing. I'm amazing. This sucks. I must burn in hell. No, that's not so bad. I'm not so bad. Okay, and it keeps going. I'll find the meme. I'll put it up. But that's exactly what happens through the creative process, and that cycle happens, you know, numerous times, you know, while you're busy writing. So my concern about sharing the book before it's finished, you know, very rough chapters, that kind of thing, is it might have a negative impact. You know, so if you've got very thick skin and you've got people you trust, you also don't want, what's the word, like sycophant? That's what I'm looking for. You don't want, you don't want your best friends going, oh my God, it's amazing, and it's not. You know, you need a really good editor, or vice versa. You've got someone who's just having a bad day, and they, you know, read a draft and they're like, you know. So I don't know, touch and go. I think your goal. I'm so big on one step at a time. And you know, while you're writing a manuscript, that is the only thing you should be focusing on. So for me, it's about whatever it takes to get that manuscript finished. Bring in technology, bring in those diary time schedules, bring in other people to support your own commitment, not necessarily to be sitting over your shoulders reading every word as you're going. Join the groups, and also online. You know, you don't have to join a physical group. There are plenty online writers communities where you can go in and tap in. And
absolutely, yeah. I know LinkedIn houses like several groups that are really good for authors. I'm part of a few of them, and the conversations I have are really good quality conversations to be having. So I think that's a great idea, and I think one of the risks of being writers is obviously the tendency to isolate yourself. I mean, you would know some, the cats, the
failed Tinder dates.
Well, I mean, at least you got some cool gifts. I mean, I've got nothing so far, so I need some tips. But so I think
I've got such a dirty joke to that. Sorry, weren't you touching a tip just now?
Oh, we have to include that.
Ooh!
It's raining. It's raining.
Oh no.
So I'm pretending it's ice cream. It's all okay. It's all okay.
Sorry, where were we? LinkedIn groups. Isolation. We're talking about isolation.
So, I got that picture stuck in my head. Oh my God, it's horrible. It won't go away.
I want to see Dave tonight when he's in bed. The duvet is going to be like up here.
I can still feel the drops. Okay,
oh no.
Okay, so writer's block community. Okay, so I think so what are some of the tips you have, for the people out there who are busy writing, who are suffering? If you had to give your number one tip to Joe Average or Susie Average watching, what would you say?
My number one tip is music. So allow me to elaborate. So again, it's about knowing yourself as a person, right? So for me, I have to tap into emotion. Even if I'm writing about the driest nonfiction topic available, I have to have emotion to access my creativity. And for me, the easiest and most powerful way for me to feel is with music. So when I'm writing and I have my set playlist, which is, I shall tell you. So I have a very eclectic taste of music, but I only write to classical, mainly because there's no lyrics. And of course, you can't concentrate on your own lyrics if there's lyrics going on in the background. But Philip Glass, Ludwika Nwadi, my favorite composers, even Chopin sometimes. But it's very emotive, like dramatic music. And it's almost like I've rewired, the neural pathways in my brain, because that music comes on and immediately I kick into creative mode. So for me, it's music, and I'm very strict. Internet, phone is off. The only thing I have is my ever-present earphones, and I have that music going. And without that, and funny enough, that's why I get most of my ideas when I'm driving, because obviously I have music pumping when I'm driving. So hence my voice notes to capture that incredible creativity.
It's actually, I'm so glad you brought it up, because so music firstly is massively powerful. I use it as well. I tend to also, so what you said was very true, no lyrics. So I alternate between either listening to classical music, so Mozart is really good. Funny enough, and this will divide a lot of the people listening, watching, it's actually trance as well. I find some good trance music serves the exact same purpose for me. And the emotion you spoke about as well, some of the best writing I've done tends to be when I'm actually feeling the worst.
Oh, totally.
So those moments you're feeling sorry for yourself and nothing's going right, and you're getting, you've lost that friend, or you've had the fight with a loved person.
The Tinder date didn't pitch. Yeah.
It does sound like a Tinder, doesn't it? Actually tends to be the moments I've written probably the things that mean the most to me. And to be honest, that's all that matters. I don't care what other people think about it, but it feels like the best writing for me has been when I feel, the shittiest.
Okay, so tip, you asked me what my number 1 tip is. My number 2 tip is don't run. Advice. Let's stay away from the word tip. My second piece of advice, my second piece of hard advice.
Oh, wow. Give me the hard tip.
Don't run from the pain. Use the pain. You are a writer. Pain is the catalyst for amazing work. So really make yourself depressed. Do it. When you are depressed, when life comes down to you. And I would even hesitate to say that underneath it all, I would say every creative person is permanently depressed on some level.
I was actually just thinking that the most creative people sometimes can be the most emotional people. And that is absolutely true for me, where I have these highs and I have these lows, and instead of dulling them down, instead of always, having whatever outlets you have, alcohol, for example, is one of them. Use it. I'm holding an invisible staff. I'm Gandalf.
Yes, you are. Yes, you shall not pass.
What they say in prison. So funny sometimes. So yes, some of the best writing actually happens at the worst of times. And I think if you have moments where you can avoid the temptation to dull whatever it is you're feeling with pills or drink, right, absolutely right. And a good old fashioned is also absolutely there.
And it also fixes headaches.
I need to hold on. Fixes headaches.
I just heard this. I heard this. I was like, don't start now. Jesus, we're recording.
Whoa, easy. Stay down. Okay,
I was going to go really bad down the dark tunnel, but we're not going to. Okay, serious moment, Dave. Serious moment?
Serious moment.
Back.
Okay. I love our serious moments. Okay, so
right. Come back.
I think just to repeat and summarize some of what we've spoken about, the habit of writing is so much more important than the writing itself. Wake up or set aside that time to write, no matter how you feel, knowing that once you get started, the creativity, the motivation will often follow. Don't be the amateur who waits for the motivation. Be the professional who starts writing knowing it will follow. Second tip from you, son?
I'm going to sum that up to, if you supply the discipline, the creativity will flow. But it's up to you to supply the discipline. Second tip is use your emotion. So, and access it via music. Don't be afraid of, so just to carry on what Dave said, you know, don't fall back on pools or booze, whatever the case is, however you numb yourself. So if you have had a hard day, that was completely accidental.
Wow.
If you've had a tough day, if you've had a challenging day,
if you've had a tough tip,
then come home. Your choice is to collapse on the couch and, you know, eat a tub of whatever it is that you're eating, or you can use that emotion, right? Use that anger and that frustration and that disappointment and whatever it is. Use it and write.
Absolutely.
Over to you, Dave.
I think committing. So there's different ways to commit. You can commit to yourself like I do by writing the night before something happens. I will wake up at 7 o'clock. I will write at 7:30. And like I say, the time often I oversleep a bit, it happens, but I will always get to what I commit to the night before. Alternatively, if you're more sociable, you can find an accountability buddy. So get someone to commit to, a friend, family. It could be someone from a writer's group to go, hey, check up on me. Let's have a Monday follow-up session, seeing how the writing's going, seeing where we struggled. Let's compare notes. And often having someone commit with you is going to be what forces you to actually, you know, carry on with the writing.
Tip number 4. Are we on 4? Yes. Number 4 is use technology. So check your writing tools. So when you are sitting down to write, make sure that the process supports you. I personally hate working on Word. I use Scrivener. Make sure that when that creativity does come, because your creativity is not going to, you know, always sit within the little discipline boundary that you've created. So when you're driving, when you're talking, whatever the case is, have a system that you can easily jot down those notes so that when it is writing time, you can easily access them and they're there and you don't forget anything.
I love that. I want to add tip 5.5, which is capture the creativity in a way that suits you. So
beautiful.
I used to, you can quote me on that. I used to write, for example, endlessly. Writing for me was easier. I had the time put aside. But then I found the busier I got, and busier for me was being out and about busy. I couldn't always sit down and write, and it became easier to procrastinate because of that. So there's a great app that I now use, and when the creativity strikes, and you will know it strikes in the most random of places, the phone comes out, I separate myself, and I tap the app and I record. And the app has an amazing feature to not just record what you've said, but to be able to share it to multiple services and platforms, and to also have it easily transcribed if that's what works for you. So often I'll be walking, I'll be at the office, and I'll whip out the phone, something would strike me, I'll record it down, and then share that audio file with my computer, for example, at home, knowing that when I get back, my exact thoughts will be waiting for me. That can then be transcribed quite easily at a nominal fee, I'm sure. Okay, so just to add on something to tip 5.5, and this will be tip 6. There's been a lot of tips today, so I'm sorry about that, son. So
I'm not complaining.
I had a good point. It's coming.
You did. You do have a good point. You do.
It's coming.
It's a bit blunt, but it's good. It's pointish.
It's coming. It's still coming. I had a really good point. Okay. Yes. Okay. So pausing for 2 seconds. Now, looking at the world of ebooks, which is obviously what you and I specialize in, or especially what I specialize in, is ebooks don't need to be long. And so many authors have this preconception of, I've got to write 100 or 200 or 300 pages in this, especially authors from older countries that aren't in the coalface when it comes to technology or things like the Amazon platform. We linger behind with this preconception of and misconception of I must write a bigger book because it's more value. But the problem then is you're introducing points where you will get stuck because I've got to write 100 pages becomes, well, you know, it's going to take a damn long time. And you then fabricating your own procrastination, where the beauty of ebooks is it's okay to write shorter. And some of my best-selling authors are writing a 50-page book. Some of the best-selling stuff that I've seen is 10, 15,000 words long. And I mean, that's 1 or 2 or 3 big blog posts, really. And the beauty is Amazon allows that. Amazon classes that shorter post accordingly. So there's no, you know, there's no deception. Amazon says this is a short read. It's an hour long or 2 hours long. You price accordingly, and you label it as a short guide, for example.
Especially if you're doing nonfiction. You know, if you're a specialist in whichever field or whatever the case is, you can get away with a short yet powerful and value-packed book, which, if you focused, you could easily write in 2 weeks. You know,
that was an absolutely amazing tip. So writing shorter reads, and it doesn't just apply to nonfiction, because as a fiction writer, you can serialize what you're writing and break off chunks into you know, the first episode, the second episode, the third episode. That's something
actually it's a fantastic marketing tool. So probably about 2 years ago, I didn't have any credit left on my iTunes account. So I was downloading the previews of the book. I was looking for a new author, So I was looking at in the fantasy section, as I do, and I saw a new author, and I downloaded the first book was for free. That's why I was like, yes, a whole book I can read. And what she had done is exactly what you've said. She had much shorter stories, and she had 6 books. First book was for free. I was hooked. And I literally took the effort to go and buy credit, which was a pain in the ass. I hate doing it, just to buy the next books. So if you do write those shorter books, it's a great marketing tool as well.
It's an absolutely great marketing tool. And who likes a good pain in the ass, right? Nobody.
Well, I would disagree with you there. Quite a few people do.
And Awkward Silence is done. Awkward Silence is done. So by writing shorter reads, you have the benefit of getting your books out quicker, procrastinating less, and having more products to shape your funnel with. And your funnel is going to be that first book free, that second book slightly more expensive, the third more so. The fourth book is going to be the compilation of all the books combined at the really cool price. So writing shorter, especially, for example, for the Amazon, the online market, is a great way to nip the writer's block, so to speak.
And also another way, I'm just thinking, if you don't choose to, a lot of writers somehow want to stick linear. You know, well, I'm stuck on chapter 2. And then they get stuck on chapter 2. Well, fuck chapter 2. Leave chapter 2. Go to chapter 10, or go write the end. Write the end. And then you'll come back. And it's the same thing with writing those shorter stories, as you're saying. So if you get stuck on one story or one chapter, leave it. It's okay. Come back to it later. You don't have to follow a linear timetable. You can go and write wherever you want.
And if I remember correctly, and you can correct me here if you feel the need to, which you almost always do, is doesn't Scrivener allow for the separation of chapters quite easily?
So that is exactly why I use Scrivener, not Word, because Word is linear. You just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And for me, that's why we were talking about technology supporting you. For me, that breaks the creativity, and it's fucking irritating, quite honestly, because like, what did I say there? And then scroll, I can't remember, and like, this paragraph should be here, and it's a mess. So what Scrivener does, and we'll put a link up, you guys have to go play and download a trial version, and trust me, you're going to buy it. So it works on like Post-its. So if you think about it, that's how your brain works. Oh, that's idea, and oh, that. So you can write in these little blocks, and then you can just move the blocks around. You can say, well, actually, that should be in this chapter. I'm going to drag it there, and whatever the case is. So it's a lot more supportive for the creative process. Okay, guys, so those are some really practical tips that you can implement this week, today, in fact, to combat writer's block, or bottleneck, as we have newly dubbed it. So there really is no excuse. And we do understand, and we do honor you really for pushing through it, because it is hard. And so we really do recognize that. So another solution, Dave, tip 6.7.0 is if you want continued inspiration, you need to come back here to this channel every week and watch us, because we are professional, supportive people.
We're lonely. We're really lonely.
And we're lonely.
This is as social as we get. So please, guys, if you're watching this, please watch, please like, please subscribe. Please let us know via the comments that you like my new haircut. And really appreciate it, because I don't really get to hear from other people otherwise. So.
And if you're in Cape Town and you'd like a date with Dave, you may contact me and we will discuss a rate. And I might be able to organize for you.
You're good. You're very good.
I got your back. I got your back. Oh, chest pump. 1, 2, 3, go.
What's chest pump?
Chest pump. 1, 2, 3, go. At the same time. Wait, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
No, you were late. You were late to the chest pump.
Okay, right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't get it.
I can see your boobs in the bookshelf. You aren't doing it
My
properly.
boobie. This is why I can't get a date. I can see your boobie.
My mommy loves me.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She told me. Okay.
I think these videos and this show kind of feels like just a kind of a pity fuck for our sex lives, really.
I'm just surprised you haven't decloaked.
I just want to get laid.
We want to be Dave. I want to decloak. We need to have capes. Why can't we have capes?
We can totally have capes.
I want a cape. What's your superhero would you be?
We could just do this topless.
Nice try.
One day.
Oh, don't I look like someone from a poor person
Jasmine from Aladdin?
No, I was going to go from Star Wars.
Princess Leia.
No, I don't look like Princess Leia, but one of the new ones. I'm prospecting for. Oh, I'm going to prospect for scrap starship parts, and then at the ripe old age of 16, having never seen a starship, I'm going to fly the fucking Millennial Falcon with having no experience whatsoever. And that is why I literally walked out of Star Wars.
You seriously walked out?
I did, yeah.
Seriously? You are one angry woman.
George, bless your soul, I love your mind, but you should never have sold to Disney. Fuck Disney.
You're just one ball of anger, Jasmine.
I'm not Jasmine. Well, according to my one review, I looked like I want to be in a movie. Let's be in a movie. It's our own movie, but still.
The MYeBook movie starring Princess Jasmine.
It's not Jasmine.
You look like Jasmine, sort of. Caucasian.
Caucasian Jasmine. Cork. He likes to say Caucasian. Tip number 6.2. Instead of drinking your sorrows away every night, channel it into something healthy.
That's actually really bad, considering I said don't do it, and now I'm doing it.
But it's only one glass, so it's allowed.
Right. It's just one glass.
Bottleneck. So another word for writer's block could be bottleneck. Don't bottleneck your creativity.
I like that. Bottleneck and creativity for alcoholics.
Are you going to tee off tomorrow and play a golf game? Boom. Boom. Catch the ball.
You've completely lost me.
Me too, don't worry. It happens often. That's why I can't get a date. Hello, my name's Sonia.
Hi, I'm Dave. Would you date me, please?
Will you be my friend?
I need friends and sex and stuff, please.
Please stop closing the curtains in your bedroom. It makes it hard for me to see. So I'm busy getting my hair cut, and on the one side, then this other guy walks in, and I was like, "Whoa, dude, there's not enough space. Like, do you mind?" Like, I'm busy. The problem is they're blonde, so you can't really see them. Yeah, I think you may have cut off. Go sideways. I can't tell, but they look good. No, they look good. Okay, guys, so I sound so professional suddenly. I preferred Princess Jasmine. Carry on. You're so hardcore. Hardcore.
I just want to touch you. That's good. That's going into it. Yeah.
Wait, Willie. Can you stop talking about penis all the time?
I didn't say a thing, son. Like that was purely you. That was purely you. Get into Alcoholics Anonymous. You kind of have to be an alcoholic, don't you?
Well, who's to decide who's an alcoholic?
Me. Okay.
Round
So
4. What session is this?